All right, buckle up, because today we're diving headfirst into justice.
Oh, this is gonna be good.
Not just laws in courtrooms, though, but like
Yeah.
the real deal.
Mm-hmm.
Human struggles with fairness, making the right call, and just, treating each other right.
The big stuff.
Yeah, and get this. Our guide for this deep dive, Albert Pike.
Oh, wow.
His
Okay.
Morals and Dogma, the Masonic one.
Right, right.
Well, before you think, hold on, I'm not signing up for a secret society, hear me out.
Yeah. No, I get that.
This goes way beyond any one group, trust me.
Absolutely, Pike. He was onto something universal for sure. It's about just being human,
Right.
Those responsibilities we have to each other. Doesn't matter if we're talking ancient rituals or like arguing over whose turn it is to do dishes.
Always a hot topic.
Always a hot topic.
But see, what gets me about this degree, the provost and judge one, is that Pike's saying everyone, every single one of us, ends up in that judge's seat sometime.
Yeah, he's not kidding.
Not literally, of course.
Right.
But think about it. It's those daily choices, right?
Oh, absolutely.
You see something messed up, do you say something?
Mm-hmm.
How do you even decide what's the right move when things are tough?
Right. And Pike, he doesn't just say, be fair. He lays out this whole plan for actually doing it.
A justice blueprint. I like
Yeah,
it.
a blueprint.
So, okay, break it down for us. What's in this plan?
Well, he talks about this idea that you can't give someone more weight just because they're powerful or rich.
Okay.
Or the opposite, right? Dismissing someone because they're not.
Which, hello, social media influencers, CEOs, right?
Yeah.
Feels relevant.
So relevant.
It's like seeing the actual person, not just all the stuff around them.
Exactly. And that's just the start. Then he gets into really listening before you even think about making up your mind.
Oh, man.
Guilty.
Guilty is charged. We've all
Yeah,
done it.
done it.
But here's the real kicker, right? Pike throws this curveball. Two kinds of injustice.
Oh, okay.
Harming someone, obvious, right?
Right, the direct hit.
But then there's this other one. Failing to stop harm.
Oh.
And that feels huge right now. Can you unpack that a little?
Sure. It's like being actively unjust versus passively unjust. So imagine you've got this lion, all teeth and claws. That's your direct harm, right? In your face.
Okay, yeah.
But then there's the fox, cunning, sneaky.
Okay.
That's the harm we let happen by not doing anything. Pike says they're two sides of the same coin.
So if you see something bad going down, but you don't step in because, not my problem.
Exactly.
You're basically Team Fox, part of the problem.
You got it. It's not enough to just be not hurting anyone.
Right.
Stopping harm, preventing it, that takes more. It's being aware, being brave enough to act even when it's uncomfortable.
Definitely not always easy.
No, not at all. And that's where things get really interesting.
Yeah.
Because then Pike hits us with this. Every single thing you do, good or bad, it's got its own punishment or reward built right in. Like it's baked into how the universe works.
Okay, now my head's spinning a bit. So it's not some outside judgment coming down, but the universe naturally course correcting because of what we do.
Yeah. He uses this example of an acorn, right? It doesn't need anything else to become a big oak tree. The potential's already there.
Okay.
So he's saying our actions, they're like those seeds. The consequences, good or bad, that's just the natural fruit of what we do.
Wow, that's a powerful image. But if we're always planting these seeds, no escaping what grows, doesn't that feel kind of overwhelming?
It's not about being scared of the what-ifs, but empowered by them. Like, what if understanding this made you super aware of what you're putting out there? Every choice, every word.
So less tiptoeing around, more like
Yeah.
realizing we're shaping things with every move we make.
Exactly. And that leads to this question that's been bugging people forever.
Kid me.
If the punishment's already baked in, what's the point of actual punishment? Like prisons, fines, all that.
Right, if the universe is already handling it.
Well, think of it this way. Maybe those outside punishments, they're for keeping order on the surface, keeping people safe, stopping more harm. But the real change, the reckoning, it happens inside.
Oh, okay.
Pike would say it's facing those ripples within us, owning up to what our actions did, that's where true justice, and growing as a person really starts.
So less about dodging a jail sentence, more about facing the music on a soul level.
Yeah.
Recognizing those ripple effects, even the ones we might not see.
Precisely. It's this huge realization that, yeah, we can't change the past, but now we have this choice in front of us. And that choice, it's got the power to change those ripples, to make things a little more just, a little kinder for everyone they touch.
Okay, I'm starting to see how this all fits together. But does Pike ever address those who might twist this idea? Like, hey, Universe sorts it out, so I can do whatever I want, good or bad.
That's huge. And I don't think he calls that out directly here, but his whole philosophy is screaming the answer. He's not saying to just accept fate like we're powerless. This isn't about ditching responsibility. It's about stepping right into it.
So not universe will clean up my mess, but more like universe is always watching, so better make it count.
Exactly. And that responsibility, it's not just what we do, it's how we judge others too.
Which, knowing Pike, there's going to be some serious truth-telling about that, too. So what's the deal with this whole don't judge thing? Why is it such a big deal, especially for the Masons?
Because to get justice right, you got to start with humility, Yeah.
Yeah.
Realizing we don't know everything. We hardly ever see the whole picture of someone's life.
It's like judging a book by its cover or a movie by the trailer, right? You miss all the good stuff, the how they got their stuff.
Exactly. Pike uses this example of two guys. One seems like he's lived this perfect life. Clean hands, he calls it. The other guy, clearly messed up, made mistakes. But Pike says we can't know what they've each faced inside.
So the guy who screwed up, maybe his life was more about luck than being good. And the other guy, maybe he's got this inner strength we don't even see.
Right, like who's more impressive? A tightrope walker who never wobbles on a rope an inch off the ground? Or the one who stumbles, almost falls, but catches themselves on a rope 100 feet up?
Okay, I see what you mean.
Outwardly, they're both just walking straight, but inside, totally different story.
Powerful analogy. But it's still so easy to fall into judging, especially these days, right?
Yeah.
Social media, everyone's a critic. So how do we actually live this whole reserved judgment thing, like Pike says?
It starts with realizing we rarely have all the facts. And even when we do, our own baggage, our experiences, it changes how we see those facts. Pike would say, "Judge not, lest ye be judged."
And he's not saying to just let bad behavior slide.
No, no, no.
It's about actually trying to understand, right?
It's about remembering we're all human. We mess up. We've all been on the receiving end of someone else's judgment. So just like we want people to cut us some slack, we got to do the same for them.
Right, right. Nobody's walked a mile in anyone else's shoes,
Yeah.
dealt with their issues.
Yeah.
And that's especially true when it comes to consequences, right? Because Pike, he doesn't just leave it at what goes around comes around.
Yeah.
He takes that whole consequences thing even deeper.
Much deeper.
Lay it on me. So it's not just that our choices have these ripple effects, that we're basically shaping the world around us constantly.
Mm.
What else is there?
Okay, get this. He uses these crazy, vivid images to get this across. He's like, even after a word is spoken, even if it's gone from our ears, those vibrations, they're still out there. Our actions, words, they're woven into everything.
Whoa, so it's like we're leaving these energy trails everywhere we go.
Right. And it gets even wilder. He talks about the ocean, how it remembers every single thing that's ever happened in it.
Okay, now that's just mind-blowing.
Right. The track of every keel which has ever disturbed the surface of the ocean remains forever registered in the future movements of all succeeding particles which may occupy its place.
Okay, so it's like this giant cosmic recording, right?
Hmm.
Everything that's ever happened is still echoing out there. Every choice leaves a mark.
Exactly. And it's not just the physical world, it's deeper than that. Pike's saying our souls, our morals, they're affected too. Every action shapes who we're becoming. It's like we're writing our own book of consequences, one choice at a time.
Intense. But if we're always racking up these consequences, wouldn't that be a crushing weight to carry? How do we even function if every little thing matters that much?
That's where the real power is, though. It's not about being frozen by fear, but realizing we have this incredible ability to affect things. It means approaching our choices carefully, aware that they ripple outwards, changing our lives, but also everyone else's.
So not about being perfect, but being present, making choices knowing they matter.
Exactly. And being aware of that, Pike would say that actually might make us less likely to do the wrong thing. If we truly get how much our actions echo, how we can't just apologize away the effects, we become more responsible for what we choose.
Higher stakes, but it makes you want to rise to the challenge, you know? Yeah, like leveling up in the game of life, but with real consequences.
Exactly. And those consequences, sometimes they're a curveball, right? You never see them coming. That's why this whole don't be so quick to judge thing, it's even more important.
Because if we're always busy judging everyone else,
Yeah.
we miss the point. We're so caught up in winning that we forget to learn from the game itself.
Right on. Remember Pike saying how we're all capable of good and bad? We've all got those shadows inside us, those chances to mess up. And yeah, those mistakes, they change us. But they don't have to be the whole story.
It's like that quote, right? Be kind, everyone's fighting a hard battle. Easy to forget when you're scrolling through social media and everyone looks like they've got it all figured out.
Totally. But even those who seem like they've totally blown it, Pike would say there's still good in them. He's got this powerful line. Even the most abandoned criminal, black as he is before the world, may yet have continued to keep some little light burning in a corner of his soul.
So even in the darkest places, there's always a flicker of hope.
Wow. Makes you rethink writing someone off completely.
It's about getting that hurting others. Often it comes from being hurt. And real justice. It means understanding why things happen, not just punishing the outcome.
Less eye for an eye, more like figuring out how to heal the stuff that causes the eye for an eye to begin with.
Exactly. Creating a world where everyone feels seen, heard, respected. That's how you stop the bad stuff, by making it less likely to happen in the first place.
Okay, so we've got consequences shaping everything, this call to not judge, but also to be super aware of what we're putting out there. How do we even start to live all this?
Pike nails it with this. Deal faithfully, but patiently and tenderly with this evil. Not just our own flaws, but the wrong we see happening around us.
So not ignoring it, but approaching it differently. Less about punishment, more about understanding, maybe even compassion.
He even says that someone who does you wrong and enjoys it, they're the ones we should feel sorry for, because they've hurt themselves way worse than they could ever hurt you. Whoa. Okay, that's a lot to unpack. It's like their actions are self-destructing, even if they don't get it.
It's like realizing real justice isn't about revenge, it's about healing. Approaching everything, every interaction with this deep understanding that we're all connected and our choices, they echo out further than we can even imagine.
So it's not just about being a good person, it's realizing every choice we make is a chance to make the world a little better, a little more just.
That's it. It's not a finish line, it's a practice. A lifelong thing of trying to live those ideals of fairness, understanding, even when it's tough.
It's about getting that life is messy and facing it with more humility, more curiosity, and a whole lot more grace. And on that note, we'll leave you with this final thought from Albert Pike. A moral offense is sickness, pain, loss, dishonor in the immortal part of man. It is itself calamity. Deal faithfully, but patiently and tenderly with this evil. How would our world, our relationships, even our own sense of what's right and wrong, change if we saw things through that lens? Until next time, keep diving deeper, folks.